Hi guys, just finished watching the Wales versus France match. Final score, Wales 23, France 27. What a game that was. Honestly, that was just unbelievable. So intense, so much to talk about. I don't think I'm going to be able to dissect it all in this one video. Just France 3 from 3. They're on course for the Grand Slam. Wales... some good moments, still look like they're clearly transitioning from Gatland to Pivac, but they've lost that ruthless edge about them. They really have under Pivac compared to what they were like under Gatland. And France just really stunned me with just how well they played over 80 minutes. They kept that intensity up over 80 minutes, which they haven't done really in their first two games. And away from home, they really brought their intensity to the table as well in the match. The first half, France definitely, without doubt, the better team. They went into half-time 17-9 up. Two tries by Anthony Bouthier and Paul Villemze. Both had brilliant games, to be fair. The first one was a high kick up into the air. Lee Halfpenny fails to catch it under pressure. Bouthier takes the ball, goes in and scores. France's try. The second try was... off a brilliant fake maul, I call it a fake maul, where they went up, looked like they were going to set up the maul, went for the peel, round the blind side, Paul Villemze went over, scored the try, and then Wales had a great opportunity at 17-9 near the end of the first half when Aldrit was in the bin, but they just went through phase after phase. France's defence held out, Sean Edwards' defensive structures clearly in place there, and defensive discipline as well. Well, at least they got a yellow card, but it was enough to keep Wales out for the half. And in the second half, Wales exploited some more tired French defence when they went through the phases after putting France under some pressure back in their own 22. And then Dylan Lewis, scores then. And then Romain Ntamack scores an interception try with Nick Tompkins. Frankly, Nick Tompkins got this a bit wrong as well because he had to just... He went a bit late with giving the pass. If he'd given it a little bit earlier, it might have been a try for Wales, but he passed it when he did. And to be fair to Ntamack, it was brilliant timing. He got the interception, went over and scored. And then France went on to lead 27-16. Wales had a try near the end from Dan Biggar. I thought they blew it initially when Wainwright, there was an overlap, he should have used it. But then in the end, it went through the phases. Dan Biggar went over, scored. 27-23 it finished, and it was so intense. That was a hell of a game. I really enjoyed it a lot. France, as I said, look on course for the Grand Slam. This is a really good French team, you have to say. After watching that and the question marks, as I said earlier, I had about them, they really showed what they're about today. They are meaning serious business. They didn't get too tired today. They had moments maybe where they faded a little bit, but some of that I think was down to Wales as well. Like I said, Wales on the other hand, as I said, they just look like they've lost their ruthless edge under Gatland. They look like they're trying to play a different kind of game under Pivac, which is more expansive, but they just don't seem to have the accuracy. Same with defensive discipline. They just seem to be a little bit all over the place sometimes, and France exploited them on a couple of occasions. I think that's the thing where if you're trying to play more expansive, maybe that kind of being a bit tighter, being a bit more disciplined, being a bit more concentrated in defence loses its way a little bit. So that's something Wales need to get a balance of, making sure that if they wanted to play this expansive game that clearly Pivac's trying to get them to play. Obviously, there was a couple of interesting calls during the game, to say the least. One of them being that maybe penalty try, which was discussed, where Carl Dixon, the touch judge, decided that it was just a knock-on by Villemze when he went in on Ken Owens. My opinion, looking at it, Villemze went in, he knocked the ball forward, there was no attempt to catch the ball. Josh Adams was on the outside, but Charles Olivon was running a bit behind Villemze and was running across to try and get Adams, and it's a possibility he might have got to Adams just before he reached the try line. So, in my opinion of that, because there was no attempt to catch the ball by Willemse, is it should have been a yellow card and a penalty, but I wouldn't have given a penalty try because it's possible Olivon might have got to Adams just before he reached the line. Who knows? I know Adams is a bit faster, I understand that totally, but that's what I think there. But on the whole, France, last time they won in Cardiff, they went on to win the Grand Slam, and I wouldn't count it against them this time. This is a French team that are on the up, definitely, and I know Shaun Edwards is going to get all the credit for the defensive organisation he's put into that team, and I can't argue with that, he definitely has, but there were some attack moves France were making today and some decisions when they had the ball that clearly have Fabien Galtier's DNA all over it. I mean, if you watched how he coached with Stade Francais and Montpellier and a bit with Toulon as well, there's clearly elements of how he likes to see his team's attack in there as well. I mean, Dupont, what a player he is. He had another excellent game. I mean, not just like the way he organises from number 9, but if you see him in defence as well, it's like he's the second captain in defence, or he is the captain in defence, because he's doing the job you expect the number 9 to do, but he's still in the defensive line. He's the first one flying up all the time to put pressure on the opponents. And yeah, and he was immense. Romain Ntamack as well. He looks a very cool customer at number 10. And France have been looking for a proper number 10 for absolutely ages. I think you can argue possibly as far back as Didier Cambarabero, maybe even further back than that, since the last time we actually had a player you could regard as a full proper number 10 consistently. And I think Ntamack still got a little bit of a way to go, but he's getting there. He looks a really cool customer. He reads the game exceptionally well. He knows when he wants Dupont to give the ball out to him and when he wants the forwards to keep it in. He's controlling things really well. That's what really impressed me about this French team, both today and throughout the tournament, is not because traditionally France have always had number 9 as their general, their operator, and number 10 kind of as the playmaker, but not really the controller. I thought Dupont and Ntamack are doing both right now, and they're doing both really well so far. And they're both young as well, so where they could be in the future, if I was a French fan, I'd be very excited with what's coming. But obviously there's still a few wee things to work on there, but I mean, they're looking good for the Grand Slam so far, I'd say. And as a Scottish fan, I'm kind of bricking it a bit, facing them in a couple of weeks. But it'll be an interesting game at Murrayfield, no doubt. Wales, on the other hand, they go to Twickenham in a couple of weeks. And again, just this transitioning period, I don't know. They just look like they're a team, they know how they want to play, but they're not sure how to execute it completely. Because Gatland and Pivac, chalk and cheese, completely different styles of rugby. And yeah, that's all I can say. And Wales, they seem to have lost their defensive discipline as well a wee bit. Nick Tompkins again at 13. I don't think he's the answer to replacing Jonathan Davis at 13 long term. There was some good things he did today, but other times it just didn't work clearly. Dan Biggar, I'm not convinced with him at 10 if Wales wanted to play the style of game. Dan Biggar, I'm going to have a little mini rant about him here because his behaviour sometimes as a 10 is absolutely disgraceful. I mean, the way he goes flailing his arms around and going down like he's trying to win penalty, it's like, mate, this is not soccer. Grow up, please. And then there was other times where he kicked the ball off Arthur Van Son when he made the mark in zone 22. And he was clearly just looking for more. And Van Son, I thought, was actually running away, but Biggar just kicked it straight into him. And it's like, what are you doing, mate? This is not rugby. I get the defensive folks saying, oh, he's competitive, and that's fine. Be competitive, but don't be a footballer and dick, mate. Seriously. Anyway, I think that's about all I've got to say in this game. Great game. I could have gone into it more because there was a whole lot to talk about. Well done to France. Commiserations for Wales. France look like they're on the up. Wales don't look so good right now, but we'll see what happens in future. Thanks very much for listening to what I have to say, guys. Sorry if I rambled and repeated myself a few times. I've got a bit of a habit of doing that sometimes. But take care. I'm looking forward to the England-Ireland game tomorrow, and I'll catch you later on.